DFZRadio.com.
Welcome to A Girl in a Garden. Today is November 17th. Next week, I guess next Thursday is actually Thanksgiving. So, man, this month has gone fast. Last week, I was in Las Vegas for the Marijuana Business Expo. I believe it was the Marijuana Conference and Expo, or whatever it was. It was the marijuana conference. And that was November 11th through the 13th at the Rio in Las Vegas. And we had a booth there for Nanolux Technology. There was quite a few hydro companies out there. And I have to say, it was one of the most well-attended shows I have ever been to in my life. When they opened the doors at 5 p.m. So the first night was the 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. They had a happy hour, and it was on the show floor. I remember they did the same thing in Boston, and barely any people showed up, and we weren't really sure what the turnout would be, but the people waiting in the lobby, it was massive. And so the happy hour ended up going till almost 8 o'clock. It seemed to go a lot longer. And we barely had time to talk to everyone that was even in our booth. And that was the kickoff of the show. Let's see, the next day, which was Thursday, that'd be the 12th. The show hours were 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., which is really, really long show hours. Maybe I'm more used to the max yield where it's 12 to 5 on a Sunday, or 12 to 6 the first day. So really long show hours. And even in that amount of time, we were not even able to talk to all the people that stopped by our booth. And we were barely able to take lunch breaks, restroom breaks, or answer our phones. It was that busy. And typically shows aren't like that. And it was that busy from when the door opened at 8 a.m. to when they ushered everyone out at 6:30 p.m. So excellent turnouts. As I said, lots of different industry people were there. Smart Pots was there. Smart Pots is a sponsor of A Girl in a Garden. Nanolix was there. Easy Clone, Current Culture, Hydrologic, Worldwide Garden Supply. Gavita was there. Lots of lighting companies, lots of venture capitalist companies, celebrity endorsement things, anyone that you would think of in the cannabis community um, that has a name for himself definitely seemed like it was there. Uh, Ed Rosenthal, Adam Dunn was walking around. I'm trying to think, Steve D'Angelo, Harborside, all the big dispensaries were there, and it was pretty amazing. So amazing conversations. Again, lots of technology. Some of it that seemed kind of strange. Some of it seems like amazing ideas. Lots of light depot and greenhouse companies were there. Someone had, I think it was Farm Pods, had these modular shipping containers that they use indoors, are not meant for outdoors, for modular growing. And they had a 2-story display at the show, which was pretty impressive. And we got to meet with one of the guys, and he actually said he owned it and it was his. They brought it in for the show. So all kinds of information, associations, products, Eden Labs. You got to see all the CO2 machines that you look at in magazines, and you wish you could buy some of the stuff. So absolutely great show. And the last day was Friday, and that was 8 a.m. again. Friday was a little bit rougher. I was able to get to the booth at 7:30 to get everything set up and be open at 8. Not as many people rolled in at 8 that day because there was lots of really fun parties out in Vegas. So 8 to 4 is the last day, and then tear down. And it was a great trip. Lots of networking, learning about new companies, lots of branding stuff in this industry. So it was wall to wall with people. I am not sure on the attendance. The the flyers that they sent out, they said there'd be over 2,500 networking professionals there. And I definitely feel it was even larger than that. And we were just on the trade show floor. None of us actually got to go to any of the classes, but they had different classes and seminars you could attend to. And when you walked by some of the outsides of them, those things were packed as well. And the show floor was still busy. So, all in all, great show. Marijuana Business Conference and Expo. They will be doing one next year in maybe it's Miami. It's in Florida though. They're doing one next year in Florida, and then they're doing one that's in May, and then they'll be doing another one in October in Las Vegas again. So I will be definitely going to those ones, and I look forward to seeing more hydro companies out at the show and talking with different consumers that you typically see at the Max Yield show. So a lot more your commercial customers versus your hobby customers that are so passionate about growing one or two plants. Uh, so it's just a very different atmosphere, but it was a very, very great show. And Las Vegas. Las Vegas is wonderful. It's been a few years since I've been able to go to Las Vegas. And the last time I actually went to Vegas was when Sunlight Supply had a trade show. It was their very first trade show. And there was a Sunlight Supply thing, a PGTA meeting, which is, and a, let's see, now I have to think of what it is. The Central Trade Show. And I think it was in 2012 that I went. And it's been a good solid 3 years since I have made it back to Las Vegas. But it was worth it. There's some amazing restaurants in Las Vegas. We went to Lupo one night, which is a Wolfgang Puck restaurant. And every single thing that we ordered was packed with microgreens. And they tasted amazing. I think we had like a duck confit. And they had I believe it was basil microgreens on top of it, and it just tasted amazing. Lots and lots of amazing food. We went to a steakhouse, Via Brazil Steakhouse, one night with an option to try 21 different types of meats. And I don't think I didn't eat meat for a while. I didn't eat meat the next day, which was so much meat. And we went to one called Andrea's, which was in the Encore. I believe it was in the Wynn or the Encore, which are connected. And that was a sushi restaurant, very high-end sushi restaurant. And it was just amazing. That's the best thing I could say about it. And then the last night, we ended up at Gordon Ramsay's Steakhouse, or Chops. And that's the one that when they film Hell's Kitchen, that is the actual restaurant. And we ended up eating there with no reservation, and we were able to call and talk to somebody and slip them some money and get a reservation, so it was worth it. And it was such a great dinner. We ended up having beef Wellington and a pork chop, amazing chicken, amazing appetizers. It was a well done meal. And then we were off and we flew back and we got to come back home, and I'm still struggling with my voice and trying to get caught up on sleep and work and my garden and everything that I need to do from being on a trip into Vegas. But if you didn't get a chance to go out there, if you're watching, you can click your live. You can see some of the different pictures from the Marijuana Business Expo. And I will also be I've added a few onto my Instagram page as well as Facebook. And I'll add them onto a growinagarden.com blog. So pictures of the Marijuana Business Conference. So great conference. Loved it. I've never seen so many people at a trade show in my life. And I've been doing 10 years of trade shows. So moving on. So today I'll be talking about some gardening. I am planting in my kitchen. I have a grow light garden and some rock wool and some soil, and I'm going to be planting some seeds and growing just in my kitchen. So that will be a video. So click watch here live. And I'll also be talking about guerrilla gardening with my buddy Dale Tron, and you can follow him on Instagram. His handle is at DaleTron_. And he has some amazing stuff about guerrilla gardening. So that's the show today. That's my feedback from an amazing trade show in Vegas for the Marijuana Business Conference. And I will say for our company, and by the time we walked away from the show, we've already had sales. and made up our cost of the trade show. So definitely worth it for us. And we are going to take a brief break, hear from a Girl in a Garden show sponsors. Definitely take the time to check out Smart Pots, smartpots.com, and Nanolux Technology. And the website is nanoluxtech.com. If you're interested in being an advertiser on A Girl in a Garden or any shows on DFC Radio, you can contact Aaliyah, and that's ALEA at dfcradio.com. So we'll take a brief break and we'll be back. This is Emily on dfcradio.com.
You're listening to A Girl in a Garden on dfcradio.com.
Hey, Dr. Duff, are you signing up for another one of those internet dating sites after your divorce?
Nah, I'm just ordering these freaking douchebags from China here. Just gonna be saving a lot of money on it. About $1 a bag.
Did you say douchebags?
Yeah, they're pots. They're fabric pots. They're, made in China. They save $1 a bag from all the other.
Oh, it sounds like an imitation smart pot or something.
Yeah, save $1, but, I'm pretty sure these douchebags are gonna work.
Dude, I had a buddy of mine who used those same douchebags. He bought them direct from China. It killed his whole garden.
Bro, what? So I'm better off spending that extra dollar on a smart pot?
I'd get a smart pot.
Don't be a Duff man. Make sure to buy the original patented Smart Pot. Check them out at smartpots.com.
A Girl in a Garden lighting quick tip. It's lighting season and people are beginning to do their setups for indoor gardening. And one of the more popular question is, can I dim down my 1,000-watt ballast to run my 600-watt lamp? And here is the answer that I give. You should always use a matching lamp with a matching ballast. Dimming is not an option that should be used for long term. The acceptable uses of dimming would be dimming it down when you first flip your plants. You do not want to shock them when you put it at 100% of HPS power for 1,000 watts when you transplant them. Another time for dimming is at the very end when you're trying to push the plants. Dimming is an acceptable form. Or if for some reason, say, a lamp goes out and all you have is a 600-watt lamp and you need to get through the weekend because a hydro shop's closed, then yes, adding in a 600-watt lamp to replace the broken 1,000-watt and dimming is an acceptable use until this hydro store opens the next day and you have to go in and buy a 1,000-watt lamp. So the short-term answer is buy the right equipment for the right situation. And so that would be matching lamps with matching ballast. When you dim down, you do not get the full spectral output of the lamp. And so you're not getting the full potential of the lamp that you bought. That's why dimming should not be used unless you use it in the situations that I described before. So that is the rundown. If you have a 600-watt lamp and you have a 1,000-watt ballast, purchase the correct equipment. So you have a 600-watt lamp and a 600-watt ballast and a 1,000-watt lamp and a 1,000-watt ballast. So that is a Girl in a Garden quick tip on dimming your ballast. And if you would like to hear more information from my sponsor, Nanolux Technology, who does make ballast, the information is nanoluxtech.com. Check out their website. This is another quick tip from A Girl in a Garden.
We're listening to DFCRadio.com.
A Girl in a Garden here. I am getting ready to plant in my kitchen. So right here I have the frame of this little garden, and this is some T5s that actually is attached with it. This is the Grow Lights Garden by Garland, and this is the arms. You put the top onto it. You have lights. It's covered. Turns on, and we plant in these little trays, and there's 4 of them that come here, and then it can drain down into here. So I'm planting in this in my kitchen, and I have this planting area kind of set up. So here's what I have. I have 4 of these little containers. I have some seeds, and then here is some soil from vermicrop, and then I'm actually going to start the seeds in these rockwool cubes from Garden. And these are A-OK starter plugs from Garden. Rockwool is, this is actually spun basilica rock. Think of it like cotton candy. You know how they make cotton candy? Well, this is a similar material, kind of like, looks like cotton candy, and it's actually spun rock. It's the same kind of concept, and we're going to plant in that. So I'm going to make a layer of soil in the bottom of these little troughs, just to have a little base and to help with some drainage. Probably should just use my hands, make it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill each of these trays up just like this one right here. And once the trays are filled up, I am actually going to get the Garden starter plugs. I'm going to get them wet. I'm going to pH them. And then once they are pH'd and ready to be planted, I will be placing them in these little troughs. And then I'll be dropping seeds into it. And for this one, I think I'm going to use this hemp seed. And the hemp seed is from the, let's see, where is this guy from? I got these from a seed exchange at the Heirloom Expo 2015. So Viable Cannabis Sativa from Germany. Plant it, grow it, eat it, wear it. Heirloom Seed Expo. #1 fuel, fiber, paper, food, medicine, educate yourself. So that's what we're going to start with seeds. And these are really just going to be started in my kitchen, mainly because I would love to see what the plant just looks like. I will not be probably growing hemp in my backyard. First, once the pollen gets out, it's not exactly helpful for your neighboring friends. So I probably won't be growing it outside, but I definitely want to start it from seed and see what it looks like and see how it's an interesting plant. So we're going to start these hemp seeds. So I'm going to continue getting the soil into this, and then once that's done, we'll be pHing and getting the rockwool wet, and then I'll be doing some planting. So there you go. Here we have the rockwool cubes that have been wetted and pH'd. And here's the rest of them that need to be placed in these little growing containers. So I'm going to take them out of this bowl and place them in the soil. And I like using the soil because it lets you kind of set them in here and they don't fall over. And then the roots will grow into it too. And there is a little bit of fertilizer in here. This is the Vermifire I'm using right here. So it doesn't have to be exact, just throw some in there. A bit more further down here, fit one more row in here. So here we have 2 flats that are ready to be planted. And here's what we're planting them in. These are, or the seeds that are going to be planted in them. These are hemp seeds that I got from a seed swap. So you have a little top right on the Garden, and you just drop them right in them. There you go. And then the seeds will grow out of there. So I will pop one of these seeds into each of the little cubes. And try not to waste too many of these guys. These ones have a few. Let's see, there's another one. There's another one. So what do we need? 4 more to finish this flat. 1, 2, And I like making sure that the seeds get down into the Grodan things because sometimes seeds will somewhat commit suicide and jump out and try to grow outside of this little thing. And you want them to grow into it. So this one is done for now. Completely planted. If I can actually get that final seed in this last one. And it's done now. Finally planted. So this tray is ready to go underneath the little garden. So here's the garden, how it's set up right now. Obviously this is way too high, so we're going to lower this down as close as possible. Not so it's touching, but as close as possible. This is going to make it so it has better internodal spacing and it doesn't stretch towards the light. So there it is. I'm going to start some seeds. We're going to have 4 trays and we're going to do some hemp seeds. So I have 3 more of these to plant. I'm going to lower the light and then we're going to see what happens with them. So this is Emily on A Girl in a Garden. Welcome to A Girl in a Garden on dfcradio.com. This is your host, Emily. And today I'm talking about gardening of all things. Imagine that. Now, the guest that's joining me is someone that I connected with on Instagram, and that's Dale Tron. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, obviously, we connected on Instagram, and you are a big gardener, and we're going to get into all about gardening in just a little bit. But what is your background on gardening?
Background on gardening. Well, my first job was as a child to water the garden. And in spending time in the garden, you learn so much about the critters and the way things work and the way things grow and the way things die. I remember vividly learning to plant seeds with my mom and planting them too deep and her telling me, no, your first knuckle is about good. So that's how it all started. Yep.
The gardening bug. It kind of, I started the same way. I started gardening as soon as I could walk.
It was like a seed was planted, a seed was planted in my head and in my life at a very young age. I was used to eating things out of the garden. It was normal for us to pick things for each dinner or each lunch.
And now we are both adults, and gardening is still a theme in your life, I take it.
It has become political activism. It has become social activism. It's a sense of community. It is a way to bring people together, and
it's a way of life.
It's a way of life. That's it. It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle choice, and you are making some big moves right now in the urban gardening world, and it's part of it being a way of life. What projects are you working on right now?
Currently, I am developing the Barrio Seed Bank. The Barrio Seed Bank is a program to offer free, clean, organic, heirloom, non-GMO seeds to the impoverished people of certain neighborhoods in San Diego, one being Barrio Logan, also known as Logan Heights. We are a seed bank that is relying on donation and volunteers, and our premise is to raise awareness about the failing food system, how to grow your food, how to save your seed, and all the political and social aspects that are entailed with that.
So, can you share with our audience what the failing food system is?
Well, let's talk about this specific neighborhood that we operate out of. I live in a very privileged neighborhood where our School of Guerrilla Arts, which is the program that's hosting the Barrio Seed Bank, is a food desert. There are no stores selling fresh, organic vegetables, local vegetables, or educating anybody about the importance about those the nutrients and those things that they need in their life and their diets. So in that aspect, it's a fail. The food system is a fail. It's like all the information and all the good foods are available to a different class of people, and the impoverished have no clue. They aren't in the know. So I think that's got some political agendas and.
It is a very political agenda, and food deserts, this word has become a lot more popular, especially with people like Ron Finley out there talking about food deserts. And it's not just one specific area, but usually it's lower income areas with no grocery stores and only bus systems and liquor stores.
Oh, there's liquor stores all day, and they'll take your EBT. You can get chicharron, Mexican.
But what are you eating from a liquor store? You're not eating a full, healthy diet.
No, I mean they do have the saving grace in this neighborhood is that there is a large Mexican produce grocery store. It's kind of like a big box style where it's huge, but it's even the people in the neighborhood agree that it's not great. That you're not getting great quality. The freshness is not on par. And
you could drive to a different zip code and all of a sudden you have Whole Foods. You have, I'm trying to think of some of these higher end grocery stores, but you have access to tons of fresh fruits and vegetables that you don't realize you can drive a few miles away, and you have liquor stores and grocery stores that are selling not high quality produce.
Yeah, but the problem that's mainly a symptom. The problem is education. They're not educating the neighborhood as to what could be available, and you vote with your wallet. And every time they go and support these other businesses, it's saying it's okay.
Now, one of the important things for people to realize, and this is where education comes in, is you do not have to rely on the liquor store, the grocery store, things like that to get food.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Seed banks come in, and urban gardens come in.
Yeah, we're trying to develop a community garden in that area, since it is a food desert. The thing is with land management, we've come across a bunch of empty lots, completely empty, and I found out who owned them. One belonging to a neighborhood church, predominantly Spanish-speaking church. And with programs like this, if we were to approach them and ask for the space, the county will give tax breaks for lending their land to community projects. Our idea is to turn it into a show garden with rare species of plants that we can use to grow seed from, practice permaculture techniques, and hold workshops free to the impoverished community, and then sign up workshops for those who can afford it. Typically it's on a donation sliding scale system on your honor.
But companies and nonprofits and projects like this do need some sort of money to stay in business.
Oh, it doesn't come from nowhere,
So what are you? So I know that you have some activities. I guess I would call it events coming up, and some of it is through donations. What is going on so you can start building these gardens?
Well, let me talk a little bit more about the seed bank. On the 28th of February is our launch party. We want to introduce this to our target audience, which is the impoverished neighborhood. So we are going to have literature in Spanish and in English, inviting them just to come pick up seeds. I'm going to have them sign a short form saying that that they can't afford to buy it, so it's free. And with contact information so that we can follow up with help or questions, and if there's success, to take pictures, to honor our seed grant, which we applied for through nativeseed.org, through their seed grant program. The agreement with them is that we get free seed, we distribute it for free, and if we are successful, to return some of that seed back to the organization for redistribution. Now, our launch party is a really big thing. It's in conjunction with the Barrio Art Crawl. Again, I was telling you, it's a very impoverished neighborhood, and used to be a very shady place to go, someplace that you wouldn't want to go. A lot of artists have moved in, art collectives, and now there's tons of galleries, and we're joining together to create community events based on art and awareness. So there's an art crawl, which I'm on the board of. It's the last Saturday of every other month. The first one is going to be this February, and in honor of the spring planting season, we are kicking it off with seed swap meet, free seed bank. We're going to have a garden exposition, a team of master gardeners on deck to answer questions. We'll have workshops available through School of Guerrilla Arts for the kids to learn to make seed bombs. We're going to teach wheat paste, so you can wheat paste. It's street art. Your propaganda. We're going to be teaching specifically non-GMO, grow your own, save the bees style prints and art for wheat pasting for the younger crowd that's into that.
I will say I have a few friends who's used wheat paste to put up their posters and put up different art things, and it's pretty cool what it's made out of instead of using nasty chemicals to pop up your art. Emily, this is also a product of our generation. I grew up watching videos and movies like Beach Street, and then MTV coming out, and train graffiti was really big back in the East Coast. About 15 years ago, we started seeing sticker art. People not just making stickers, but using it, for their propaganda, and they call them slap packs. You slap them up around town in different places, and it's a different form of graffiti. And then wheat paste came into play, and big players like Banksy and Shepard Fairey are now world-renowned artists with contracts through Pepsi and Disney and you name it. This art is a product of our generation that's recognized. It's also a guerrilla art. It's something that you do that's technically illegal, and it's tribal knowledge. You learn from somebody who's learned from somebody who's learned. So here's something kind of going off subject what we were talking about, but I guess it is on subject. Do you believe gardening is art?
It is, and it's activism as well. Every time you plant a seed, any seed, you are voting and you are choosing and you are affecting the world in a number of ways that you can't even imagine or fathom or maybe choose to accept. Say we take a highly modified genetic seed and put it in the ground. The first thing that happens, it affects the microorganisms in the soil. The next thing that it affects is the pollinators as soon as it starts to put out any flowers. Now, sometimes these things injected into these seeds are systemic. So even the next generation of plants or cuttings from them contain these toxic elements, which we are still unsure about how they work in the human body and their complete effect on the environment. The next thing that it affects are the people that eat them. It's been proven that, eating nothing but GMOs can cause tumors. We're still unsure about the scope of the effect of these foods in our diet at these amounts. So planting seeds is it's a number of things. It's an idea. It is activism. It is a way of voting. It is a way of being an example. It's a way to feed your family. It's a way to fight the food system, making you buy and spend your money at stores that aren't selling something fresh when you can grow it at home.
I will also say I feel it's art. I am not, I would say, artistically inclined when it comes to drawing. Where I see my art is creating, and where I get to create is in the garden. So my art is with pictures and with gardening. And there's so much things you can create by working in the dirt. And in the end, you can get food, you can get flowers, you can get plants that attract our pollinators, our honeybees that are disappearing. There's so many different things you can do with gardening.
In the garden, there's many examples of art. Espalier is an art form, okay? Caudiform plants with swollen roots. That's an obsession in itself that I'm trying to stay away from. Propagating air plants and creating specimens. Mounting things and using known techniques. They have clubs everywhere just to show off specific plants and the forms that they have and the way that you grow them. So it's very artistic. And also in the design, there's different ways of stringing a beanpole from every culture has got a different way of doing it. My people use bamboo, which grows rampant. I'm Filipino. That's a staple in the garden, is to have a little bit of bamboo growing for use for trellising or for beanpole making or for hanging out your clothes on. It's very artistic.
So you said that on your event on the 28th of February, you guys are going to be making seed bombs. What are seed bombs?
Seed bombs. Okay, so seed bombs, we're not sure exactly who invented the technique. I've read that the Egyptians did it to be able to sow multiple amounts of seeds on higher banks. And then I heard that the Japanese did it. So we're not sure where it came from. But it is a way to spread seed to hard-to-reach places. Now, what the seed bomb has become is a symbol for the guerrilla garden, which is guerrilla gardening is also an extension of these different activities that we do with the School of Guerrilla Arts. Now, as a symbol for the guerrilla gardener, it's a way to say, flower a whole side of the freeway, or make spots that look barren and deserted, that are behind fences and inaccessible, able to grow flowers. I mean, essentially you can put anything, any kind of seed in a seed bomb. I'm a big fan of flowers. First of all, they are pretty. They attract the eye. They attract pollinators, and typically are ininvasive.
And they attract our pollinators, which you need honeybees. You need our pollinators out there to be able to pollinate your fruits and vegetables as well.
The honeybee is, the plight of the honeybee is the poster child. It's not the only pollinator we have. We've got fruit bats that come at night. Different times of the day are different. It's like a schedule, There's the bats come out at night, and then there's the beetles and the bugs, earlier in the morning and even or later at night, and then the bees in the morning and the daytime, and then when it gets too hot, they're back at the hive. The problem with buying, say you're doing curb appeal at your house, and you're buying things that have nothing to do with vegetables, but you're buying plants, for hedges, and just to escape your land. When you buy from big box stores like Home Depot, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Home Depot.
I'll say it. Don't buy your plants there.
Okay, there you go. They have these a return policy, 1 year guarantee. If your plant dies and you have your receipt, you can bring it back. The reason they can do that is because they treat their plants with systemic poisons, toxins.
They're treating them with a neonicotinoid.
There you are. There it is. And when these plants flower, guess what the bees are eating? They're eating the nectar, and it's systemic. They're bringing that back to the hive, and it's no coincidence that colony collapse disorder is an endemic thing.
I will say I worked at Bayer Crop Science for a very short time. And before I ended up quitting, they sent us back to a bee university training. And we got to talk about CCD, the colony collapse disorder, and how their products and neonicotinoids were no way in relation to this issue.
You're kidding. That is propaganda.
So sitting in that meeting, I was just like, this was right before I started A Girl in a Garden, and it was like that decision of, do I want to continue gardening and talking about organic gardening, or do I want to sell chemicals for the rest of my life?
Right.
And I quit about a month after that. I'm like, I cannot do this.
And Emily, look where you are now. You know, and doesn't it feel good?
It does feel good, and I can say, don't buy those products at big box stores.
I mean, I look
Shop
at your
local, trade seeds.
Absolutely, grow your own. You know, trade. I want to introduce the idea of crop swapping. Get together with your neighborhood and find anyone that's growing anything. Say they just have a lemon tree. They're not going to use all those lemons. Let's trade, you know, have an event, make it a barbecue. We're going to be doing crop swap in our facility and engaging the entire community to come and make it a fest, you know, with vendors and education and our School of Guerrilla Arts propaganda as well, doing workshops and, you know, make it fun. I mean, farmers markets are popping up everywhere. But, you know, this is a moneyless system that we're talking about.
And there's some other great programs out there. If you look up the hashtag Food is Free, or if you look at companies like ampleharvest.org.
Let me write these down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, write some of these ones down. Food is Free is just, it started with a thought, and people will put out extra fruits and vegetables, usually with the sign, take some if you're hungry. Food is free. Putting the food out there to your neighborhood. Another one is ampleharvest.org, which is a nonprofit. You can donate vegetables and fruits, fresh fruits, to your local food banks, food shelters, and you can actually get a tax write-off from it.
That's awesome.
But a lot of people don't know about these kind of projects and grassroots thing, exactly what you're working on with seed swaps and crop swaps.
Yeah, you know, let's talk about the grassroots, all right? The grassroots is anything outside of, here's that term, the 1%. Anyone that's not a lawmaker, you know, that's or the privileged. It's the bottom, it's the people, it's almost everybody, and it's about taking action and you know, picking up and speaking out. So one way that we are going to be spreading the word is canvassing the streets, finding people with fruit trees, and finding out what they do with them. Anyone with a garden, and encouraging them to take us up on our seed bank, or join the crop swap. You know, you've got these trees that have bumper crops at the right time. There's a bunch of other things fruiting around the neighborhood. Come bring what you got, leave with a lot more.
Yeah, and there's so much. If you have a fruit tree in your backyard, there's no way you can possibly eat everything. And a lot of the times it ends up falling on the ground and rotting.
That's a problem all over the city. That's why they plant male trees and, you know, only flowering varieties everywhere. In my neighborhood, every house, it's a cookie cutter neighborhood, every house has a pear tree. The sad thing is they're all male pear trees.
That is actually sad. I didn't know that. I used to live next to a guy who would just let it fall off and rot, and then he would get mad, and he's like, oh, you can have a few, so you go pick a few, and he's like, you took too many.
Oh,
and
wow.
You'd always look over the fence, and you'd be like, there's like half of the tree rotting on the ground.
Rotting on the floor, yeah. It's about education, you know, engaging people in a certain way and letting them know that there's no ill intent, and that, you know, I'm not no stranger to knocking on a door and saying, "Hey, can I pick?" You know, or just asking people while they're in the garden, "Can I pick some of that?" You know.
And a lot of it can be a trade or a barter. Hey, do you mind if I help you clean up your trees and get some fruit in exchange that we can donate?
Some people are too old or too busy, you know, to be able to reach or to do that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you can encouraging people to do their own little startup businesses, you know, if to be able to feed their families by during harvest time, canvassing the neighborhood and asking, can I help you with your harvest? And we split 50-50. I've done that and had people say, you can keep it all. I just don't want it falling on my lawn.
Yeah, and there's so many things that can be done with gardening, and it's also interactive with the community, and it's about education. And I know this is some of the things that you guys are working with your Guerrilla Art School. So your first event, it's arts and it's gardening and it's seed bombs and it's education and it's seeds in general, is February 28th.
February 28th. There's going to be, we're going to host a Roots Cafe. We're going to have a vegetable expo donated by dynamic local organic farms, so that the neighborhood can see exactly what's possible and how beautiful these things can look, and get exposed to the different colors. They don't know that carrots come in about 5 colors and beets come in about 5 colors. You know, they don't realize that these colors mean different nutrients and different sets of antioxidants. You need to eat the rainbow. You know, I hate to quote Skittles, but they're on point with that. You know, eat the rainbow.
Just not the GMO rainbow.
Yeah, just not that one. You need these colors. I mean, cauliflower these days, purple, yellow. We've got green. What is that? Romanesco. You know, very, very, very important phytonutrients.
And when you start working with heirloom seeds, you start to realize that carrots aren't just orange.
No, they actually weren't. Originally were not. They were bred to be orange.
And they aren't. Baby carrots are a lie. When you buy them in the grocery store, those are just big carrots cut down.
Thank you for telling us that. It's one of the biggest shams, you know. It's like one of the biggest shams, just like some bottled waters.
Yes, they come from the municipality water.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Water district. They are not bottled at a spring.
Baby carrots. I think I'm gonna come up with a whole new line of jokes just based on that.
Yeah, you could do a whole fun sign thing when you do education and talk about carrots, and it's just like baby carrots, they're a lie.
A lie for sure. Oh, you know what? That just might be one of our wheat pastes. Every time I grow carrots, I always pick babies, you know, to show people, you know, this is what a baby carrot looks like. It's shaped like a carrot. It doesn't
this is what a big carrot looks like, cut down into babies.
Yeah.
So what is a website or information that you can find online about this event on the 28th?
Right now we are building. We're building from the ground up, and it's all volunteer work. So right now we are just linking. All the different players are reposting and linking and posting things to our Instagrams. We do have a Facebook page for the School of Guerrilla Arts. That would be facebook.com, School of Guerrilla Arts. It is a political organization. My position there is to teach gardening.
It's a great position to have.
We have just started a Barrio Seed Bank page, so that you could just look that up on Facebook. And I would love and invite the traffic there. As little content as there is, as we just set it up, it's something that's going to be big. It's a free seed bank, you know, with free information. That's something. That's something there. We will also have places for people to donate or to comment or to share, you know, in the experience. And if they want to start a bigger, small seed bank, you know, maybe you live in just a small part of town, and it's something you can do. It's very easy. I've got the resources amassed and compiled, and we're available to answer questions. If you're in town, stop by anytime. You know, we're located here in San Diego. Weather here is always clement. We'll give you a tour of our building that we operate out of, show you our gardens, and introduce you to the different players that are helping to make change in the community. We've got help from Edible Magazine. I'm approaching Slow Foods USA, you know, which has global implications.
Very global.
Yeah, there's a program at one of the city colleges called Seeds at City, and they have a show garden there. Their master gardener just hired my friend yesterday to be a garden professor, and he's going to be my right hand in this project, volunteering his time. Another lady who I met through my acupuncture job when I was volunteering in acupuncture is 2 classes away from her horticultural license. She's also a greenhouse technician, and a landscape designer, and is going to be volunteering her services, her knowledge, to this organization. She lives in a privileged neighborhood as well, and understands the importance of spreading the wealth and raising awareness and giving the education out.
And sometimes you need to walk outside your little neighborhood or bubble to see what's going on in the world.
Right.
So if people want to follow you on Instagram, your name is Daletron _. So DALETRON _.
Uh-huh.
And your hashtags that you are doing, and other people as well involved with this project. You are using the hashtag Barrio Seed Bank. That's BARRIO. Seed Swap Me, and School of Guerrilla Arts.
That's correct.
So it looks like you guys have some great stuff coming up. The first event is February 28th in San Diego. And look them up on Instagram and on Facebook. I will be sharing more information. And will you join me after the event on A Girl in a Garden and tell us how it went and share some pictures?
Absolutely, yeah. We sure will tell you exactly how it went and what's going to happen next. I want to invite any of your listeners, to make the trip down. Maybe you only live in LA, or you live, in a county away, or you're looking for an excuse to come to San Diego. I'm telling you right now, the weather is gorgeous, and the people are acting gorgeous along with the weather. If you can make it down, this event is going to be a lot of fun. It's in conjunction with the Barrio Art Crawl, so you'll be able to. It's a free event. There's a number of art galleries that will be open, hosting, and we're going to be having the seed bank opening, which is going to have a plant expo, gardening displays, question and answer. There's going to be music, children's workshops hosted by teenagers, and it's all volunteer. You can come down, enjoy, come for the seeds, and stay for the art crawl, or you can talk to us about how we can help you, and help you in your town with the resources we've amassed.
Networking is an amazing thing that you should always do with the community.
Instagram has been a jump off. That's how I met Emily, and at one point I realized, wow, this is a tool. I started seed swapping on Instagram, and I'm going to drop a couple names out there. Start a Farm on Instagram, tons of followers, dynamic people. They are permaculturists up in Northern California, and have sent me numerous packages of seeds. Big Germ is also another player in sending seeds. Perpetual Harvest, somebody that you can ask if you're trying to get started.
Are we talking Fraser from Perpetual Harvest?
That's Fraser. That's the guy. That's
I
the
will
one.
say, in my day job, he is one of my employees.
He's one of your employees. This is it's the biggest small world in America right now. This gardening community. So yeah, there's people out there. If you don't want to take advantage of our resources, be a grassroots person and take it into your own hands. Search it out. Use these hashtags: crop swap, seed swap, clean seed. Look it up. Ask somebody, and most likely people are willing to share.
And it's all about education, and part of that is with networking. Part of that is doing a little bit of research and talking to these people you meet online. I just said a few that you weren't aware of, like ampleharvest.org. There are so many different programs out there, but it's getting the information out to more people so we're all aware of it.
Mm-hmm. If anyone's interested in guerrilla gardening and learning more about that, it's an actual organization where it doesn't have to be, because it's just a practice. But you can go to guerrillagardening.org if you're interested in learning about seed saving, which is something that, as a garden educator, I'm going to be teaching. The Seed Savers Exchange has tons of information for you. You can get catalog from them as well, a free catalog if you write to them, and they have their own website. So resources are out there. I think that ignorance, there's no excuse for it. We have all the information available to us, and it's our responsibility, Emily's, mine, and anyone who knows anything, to spread the word, to engage the community, to talk about it, to answer questions, and to grow things and show people that you can do it yourself, you know?
You can. So I have to say thank you so much for joining me today and talking with the Girl in a Garden listeners and sharing what you are doing with many other people down in San Diego.
And I applaud your work. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So we will talk again. I hope you come back on the show and update us on the event on February 28th, 2015.
Thank you, Emily.
So until next time, this is Emily on A Girl in a Garden on dfcradio.com.
dfcradio.com.
Dr. Duffman here. Wanted to talk to you about what I wish I had in my garden. And that, my friends, is a Nanolux double-ended fixture, which is leading the industry as I speak in double-ended technology. I will no longer need 10 150-watt lights to cover my 5x5 area. With just one double-ended fixture from Nanolux, I can cover that area. Also, no more need for that pesky rooster timer of mine that goes off at all kinds of random hours. With Nanolux's fixture, it comes NCCS ready, meaning I can control it on my computer. So if you're like me and your lighting situation sucks, then upgrade to Nanolux's double-ended fixtures today, and don't be a duff man. For more information on Nanolux, check them out at nanoluxtech.com. That's NANOLUXTECH.com.
We're listening to DFCRadio.com.
A Girl in a Garden fall garden cleanup tip. It's harvest time. It's time to clean up, and reusing or cleaning out your smart pots to reuse them again for the next season is a great cost-effective thing you can do. One of the ways that you can do this is by turning the container inside out after emptying the soil or the soil media and leaving it out in the sun to dry out. Maybe move it a few times, brush off all the excess soil or media, and you can store it. If you do want to sterilize it, you can always soak it or sterilize it with Simple Green or a light bleach solution. If you are cleaning several smart pots, one thing you can do is dump all the contents out and add them into a garbage can or a big container. Add in water and a mix of Simple Green or bleach. Don't mix them together. Agitate them. Let them sit overnight. Agitate them again. Empty the container. Fill it with water. Agitate it again. Make sure they're nice and clean and sterile, and then you can reuse them. So there are 2 different ways to clean out your Smart Pots garden containers so you can use them again for the next growing season. For more information about Smart Pots, you can visit smartpots.com. And this is a quick tip from Emily on A Girl in a Garden.
We're listening to DFCRadio.com.
Welcome back to A Girl in a Garden on dfcradio.com. A big thank you to Daletron for joining me this week and talking about guerrilla gardening. You got to see how I planted hemp seeds inside in Grodan cubes, and we'll see how they germinate in my living room. And then for tomorrow, I forgot to say this on the intro, but tomorrow evening, Keith and I will be from Nanolux Technology. We'll be on the Heavy Teas Grow Show. Nanolux Technology is a sponsor of A Girl in a Garden and a sponsor of Heavy Teas Grow Show. So tomorrow night, 7 p.m. or around 7 p.m., we will be on Heavy Teas Grow Show talking about our new lamps with the Max Power line and the Marijuana Business Conference. And earlier in the morning, or when I recorded this early in the morning, I said there was a huge amount of attendees. So we actually got an email confirmation. There were 5,600 people that actually registered and attended that show. So that is a huge amount of people that made that show a huge success. So 5,600 people, that kind of blows my mind. It's amazing. So that's what it is. Next week, we'll be talking some more gardening. Next week is Thanksgiving I might need to get in my kitchen and talk about some different Thanksgiving recipes. So we'll find out what's on next Tuesday's show. But until next time, this is Emily on A Girl in a Garden on dfcradio.com.
dfcradio.com.